Hello, welcome to Life After the Locker Room with myself, Mike Ireland, and a very good mate of mine, Cy Wainwright. Say hello.
How are you doing?
All right, mate. I'm all right. I say, well, I don't want to say an old mate of mine, but we did start our footballing journey. Well, 2005 was Hoole Fields playing passball, and then 2006 was my first season with you.
I've probably played about 20 years by then.
And I know.
I'm certainly not going to be upset about you calling me old. That's the least of my worries.
There is that. So I mean, because how long had you been playing? Just we'll go back to the start in a minute. How long had you been playing in 2006, and how long did you get in before you did call it a day?
So my first probably competitive game, if you could call it that, was 1985. So a little bit before when you turned up. Yeah, leather helmet.
The thing is there'll be people that maybe they watch this, but there's people in the Seahawks that's dads probably weren't around then.
Probably.
That's the thing because we're talking some of the younger players in the Nationals when you're born, and
Yeah.
some of them are past. Well, the past 2000.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Oh, there'll be some. I've coached some guys, and when I've talked to them about their fathers, and I realise I could be their father's father mathematically, and it's like, right, okay, that's bit of a stretch. So yeah, long time ago, and literally, I was a latest starter because at that point there was not a great deal of football either on TV or knocking about, and it was a real wild west.
I was going to say, how did you get into it then?
So I got into it. It was probably late 70s, early 80s. I went on holiday with my parents to Miami, and the guy that owned the sort of motel that we were staying at, he was a massive Miami Dolphins fan. And while we were there, he sort of was talking to me, and I'd never heard of any of it or seen it or anything. And he said, "I've got a spare ticket. Do you want to come to the game?" And I thought, well, let's go and have a go. And just fell in love with it. The tailgating, just the whole day, because I'd never experienced anything like it. So it was just the whole day, the razzmatazz, the build up, the hours before, all the tailgating stuff, and then and the excitement, and honestly, and that was it. I was in love with it. But then I came home, and there was nothing. It was like dead space. Because it was about, I don't know what it was, 84, was it, when Channel 4 started chucking it a bit on or something like that? I don't know. You won't remember. You were still.
I was one.
Yeah, I was going to say, probably hadn't even made school, had you?
I feel bad when you were saying it's like 1984. I was like, yeah, there was one. I don't think I could stand up right then,
Yeah, I couldn't play. But yeah, and so it was a bit. There was sort of a lull, and I was like all excited about it, but there was just nothing. And I don't even know if they did invented the internet then, so I couldn't even look up teams in America or stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I think it was late 84. I just saw an advert in a local paper, and it was just pretty much loads of lads just throwing a ball around on a school field is what it started off at.
Where was that? Because obviously,
that was the Halton Demons.
I was going to say,
the original team. Yeah,
you're from my hometown. You're from Runcorn.
Yeah,
Funcorn. But I'm just curious as to where it was, because was that Darbs?
No, it was pre-Darbs. And Darbs was probably your age. He was probably still in school. He was probably getting expelled from the primary school somewhere.
So that was the whole Demons. Where was it?
So they started off at Wade Deacon Grammar School, which was in Widnes. That was the first. That was the sort of advert in the local paper to go there.
Yeah.
So it started off there, and then I can't remember the timeline. I think we ended up at Haddocks Wood in Runcorn, But the team was Holton, which is, if people don't know, is a combination of Runcorn and Widnes, so it's the two towns together. So 85 was the first sort of proper playing games against teams.
So how did you get on?
I can't. I think I wrote. I've got it somewhere.
Have you written notes?
I did all right. No, I did. I found it. It was an old piece of paper. I'd stopped writing it after a while, but oh no, there it is. 4 and 6.
That's not bad, you know.
No, and there was some proper weird teams in there.
Go on, give us a little rundown.
I've got this thing about, I believe that a football team should have relevance to where it is.
Yeah.
So obviously I'm involved, and we were involved with Chester. So the Chester Romans, I like that. I get that. So we'll have some now that are not. So Bradford, well renowned for the Dolphins.
Obviously, there's loads of days.
So the Bradford Dolphins was one of the teams. There's a lot there, isn't there? Wolverhampton Outlaws, Reeking Giants, the Centurions, which I'm not sure if that would be the early Merseyside Centurions.
That'll be either Mersey or Lancs, wouldn't it? I can't remember. They were sort of like that sort of area.
Manchester Heroes, which is one of the early Manchester teams.
Yeah.
We all played them. The Huskies, don't know who the Huskies were. We used to play a lot of Birmingham, quite a few seasons. It was all Birmingham type of teams. But
you went 4 and 6.
4 and 6.
Too badly. Yeah. I mean,
and that was in the old Budweiser League.
I was going to say, because this is going
by Budweiser, yeah.
Because that was the thing, is what maybe if you're watching this in the UK now, you know, a lot of people watching this are sort of, I would say, kind of our era at least, understand that if you're not, or if you're an American, it's, I don't think anyone would say it, you know, otherwise, it's taken a massive step back. When it was the Budweiser League, Budweiser came over and sponsored the league, and it was huge. There was literally a team on every street corner. It was massive. You know, it was huge. Yeah, you know, the finals were massive, all that, and it was televised. The finals were huge. It was just absolutely monstrous. And now I don't know. I mean, I know they've just done a collaboration with Nike with this flag football, because the Olympics are coming up. I don't know what's in it, but it has taken a massive step back from that sort of time, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I didn't like about then was, to a certain extent, teams were springing up all over the place. But then in the sort of late 80s, it became like the Wild West, whereas, you know, me, you, and a couple of lads are on a team. We don't like the team, so we'll just start a new one up.
Yeah.
And then you dilute the team, because you end up splitting that original team in half, and then one of the two teams will fold. And that's what it was like. It was teams were starting and folding, and honestly, it was just, you never knew what team was going to be around the next season.
Really?
So it was really, and we had a little bit of that, and it feels sometimes nowadays that we've still got a little bit of that teams are coming into the league, and they're not overly regulated before they come in, and they sort of full of a lot of, well, I won't swear.
You can swear that.
Full of a lot of piss and wind, and then, you know, do maybe 1, 2, 3 seasons, but then all by the wayside. And players are very, you know, it's not professional. Players are very transient. So, you know, when players it's now like it was in the 80s, players get bored at one club, and then a group of them then decide they're going to transfer next season to another club. You know what I mean? And it dilutes, so it weakens the team they've left. And so there is a lot of that. I know there's discussions at the moment about putting caps on the number of players a team can have.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because, you know, if a Premiership team has 100 plus players on its roster, they're not all going to play at all. So, and if they've picked a lot of those players up from lots of other teams, then it's great for that team, but the players aren't getting playing time, and really it's not growing the sport. It's a bit single-minded, of my view is anyway. I'm sure other people will sort of say, well, if you can't attract the players, then you shouldn't have them. But
it's a valid argument, but that's the thing is players want to go where there's good facilities and where there's good coaching.
yeah,
So-
it is, and that's why some players are prepared to not play, because what they'll say is, I'm still young, got loads of time to play, but I can be on a championship winning side or a contender, and I'm going to get top class coaching. And so I do get it. without a doubt.
So that was the early Budweiser League.
That was a
So
start.
from the Demons, at what point do you go to the St. Helens Cardinals and get your ring?
Oh yeah, that was where are we? 87, I think. Yeah, 87. Because I actually jumped halfway through the season. Again, another one of those. I'm probably one of those guys I've talked about that like I'm bored of this place now. I want to go somewhere else.
I'm away, stuff here.
So yeah, I went to the Cardinals, who were then UK AFL champions.
Oh right.
And they beat Ipswich Cardinals. It was a Cardinals final. They beat Ipswich Cardinals in the final. Yeah, Cardinal Bowl. Oh. But I think I only played 3 or 4 games. So I came right at the end of the season.
Got a ring.
So yeah,
because I still remember.
I feel like John Terry with that though a bit. So
I remember your thing. I'm a St. Helens Cardinal. Kiss my ring.
Yeah,
that was on your car.
I remember that. Yeah, I've still got one of those stickers unstuck, if you know what I mean, like in a cupboard somewhere. I just thought it was brilliant because of it. But
do you still remember like the people? Because the thing is I still remember I can still recount all the offensive lines I've played with through all of the teams. I can still remember who was stood next to. Can you still remember some of your original players from the Cardinals?
Yeah, definitely. There was a guy. Remember we were in St. Helens, and St. Helens used to have a pit there, a proper coal pit.
Oh wow!
St. Helens down pit.
Pit.
And we had a guy, I won't name him in case you listen to it or people know him. He turned up for training and he had a pair of pit boots on. Now, original pit boots, like proper hobnail boots. In other words, nails coming out of the bottom. They were original hobnail boots. So the sole of them was nails into them. And he said, "Can I play in these? Because it's the only boots I've got."
Fuck, God.
Like, maybe not. And you wonder now about people say you can't have metal studs, What about nails?
Nails, fine. Yeah, fine. If you just stand on people, they'll feel it. You'll be fine. Jesus.
It's weird because I say to people, I can remember more, and this is football for me. I can remember more people from football than I can from my school. From my primary school or my secondary school.
Absolutely.
I can vaguely remember and had nothing to do with lots of them. I still have contact with guys from St. Helens.
Really?
Via glorious Facebook. But, the Romans, where I was for a long spell, still really friendly with loads of people there. So my friendship circle is very much dominated by football.
Yeah, because I was going to come on to the big move to the Romans, and you were there. I mean, you're back there now.
Yeah.
I mean, we both had a little foray into the Spartans, but you basically most of your career has been Chester.
Yeah, it was. I'm an awful trainer, really awful trainer. I'm not good at training, and I know I'm not. I don't know what I am, lazy or what. I don't know. I was just poor. So one of the things was, I always thought once I was at a team and they knew how I played, then that's what got me my selection. And I still turned up to training every week. But when you at the end, when you do a scrimmage at the end, there's no way I'm sprinting. I'm not sprinting to tackle someone in a training session. If he's gone, he's gone. You know what I mean? It's like whatever.
The thing is, though,
whereas in a game, a proper game, I would blow my arse out.
Oh yeah.
Across there. So I always used to think, if I go to a new club, I have to prove myself again. I'm starting from scratch, which means I need to play well in training. Otherwise, I'm not going to get to show that I can actually play. And I just used to think, so I tended to stay at clubs until either they fold, well, most of them folded, and I had to move on. Plus, the other thing is I've worked shift work all the time, and so you can't commit to every week training. So you've got to be at a club that understand that, and some clubs don't, and some clubs say, well, if you don't train, you're not going to play, which is fine.
No.
But it was just something I couldn't do. Whereas once I'd got at a club, and like everything else, I was never going to make a living out of football. So, and I probably was too old even then to go and play abroad. And my job, I had too good a job to give that up. So it was always going to be a hobby. So I just wanted to be where I could play.
Was there opportunities to go abroad? When was that? The 90s, 2000s?
No, there was. I don't think there was a great deal then. The market was flooded with Americans at that period. Lots of teams, even in the UK, had Americans, but especially over in Europe, I think. But I didn't really look into it. There was a lot of US players, or a lot of servicemen, obviously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, from different places. Because I always remember at St Helens, at Warrington there used to be an airbase there at Warrington.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, if you go along the 62 by the massive IKEA, on the other side, you can still see some of the low-shaped angles.
Yes. I'm just thinking, I'm like,
flat domes, yeah. And I remember at St Helens, we had a few players, and one of the head coaches, a guy called Mike Eberline. Wow, what a guy he was.
Yeah.
At that point, we were used to just, how to play American football, where you just butt heads with the guy opposite you. Yeah, there's no technique, there's nothing. It was like, I'm just going to headbutt him, and he'll headbutt me back, and we'll see where we go.
Wins.
He came along, and it was like, oh my God, it was such a revelation. He was such a great guy. So there was a lot of Americans from that. And I know over the years, different people from different areas, like Lake and Ethan, Mildenhall. So the Brace at Edmonds, Ipswich, and all those sort of teams did so well out there.
Yeah.
And I think Europe was a bit like that. I knew a few very good players, but it didn't seem to go to Europe. There was a few, I can't remember what his name was, who started up Manchester Spartans it was then, and then they joined a bit of like a European league.
Oh, right.
Harry Summit. There'll be somebody watching though.
Yeah, someone stick it in the comments so Simon doesn't feel.
Rick will know. Rick Lothian will know, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. He knows everything.
He was one of these guys that was constantly he was a bit of a wheeler dealer. So he was constant, and he got into, it might have been Terry Smith. No. Sure, his name might be Smith. Anyway, we'll find out.
You're looking at me like I might know, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, he tried to get like a British team, which was at the time, I think it was the Spartans, and then might have been the All Stars, and get him involved in European football. But there wasn't a great deal of British teams doing that, to be honest.
Oh, fair. So, did you finish up? Because the thing was, I remember your. Even though you say you didn't have to try, you were always in the right place because your brain knew where the ball was going to be. So there was a play I remember. I mean, there's two plays that I want to talk about, right? Very briefly, there was one play against Sheffield Predators where they used that double wing, and they lined the one guy out wide, and you just shouted to everyone, "It's a pass." And you were already backpedaling before the ball was in the air, and everyone else was like, "Well, you'd identified that." And I remember stood there going, "God, he's clever." And I was, that was because that was experience, and that was you kind of figuring it out, and that was just obviously that was years and years of coaching. And so, well, kind of who do you think kind of gave you that level of coaching? Who switched you on like defensively like that?
I don't know really. There's a few people like to say switch me off. some of which you'll know. Probably Mike Eberline, the American guy, was the very first one that opened my eyes to reading a game rather than just waiting until something happened and reacting to it. So just wait until you saw the guy with the ball and going, oh, there we go.
Yeah.
You know, so he was the first one that was saying, like, you know, the play starts when they line up and you should be picking up different points from that. Yeah. And that was, at that point, that was like a revelation. It was like, oh my God, really? You know, and he'd say, you know, this is going to be a pass. How do you know that? You know, and it's, you know, this is a run and it's up the middle. But again, what makes you think it'll be that? You know what I mean? And it was just that sort of thing. And in the end, I think some of it was just, I think maybe because of all the years of playing, it became instinct, which meant to a certain extent, I managed to play for a little bit longer than I probably should because my body wasn't good enough, but my mind was still gave me an extra 2 steps.
Yeah.
So I'd lost those 2 steps. I just wasn't quick enough.
Then they'd gone
I'd gone from outside backer. Now I'm in the middle because it's like, well, you can just be a bit chunkier and stand there, can't you? But and also when I did that though, I found that I read the game better because you see more. When you're stuck on the outside, you see a bit, but it's a certain angle. And so I managed to carry on because I thought the legs are going here and well, everything was going. But I still managed to get to where the ball was because I could take 2 steps before anyone else would really move.
Yeah,
so you sort of helped me a little bit.
You always saw that on film. You were always walking down towards, if you know, before the ball was snapped, you were always walking just to get there. And then as soon as he burst through the line, you were on top of them because you'd already gone, come in here. Yeah. And that was the impressive thing. And I mean, the other player that I want to talk about is obviously South Wales Warriors. I was talking to Evan, I think it was, the other day, and I said, the best play of my career, my most sort of like sacred moment, and you know, if you've watched any of these, you'll know it, is us, the final play. South Wales Warriors. I just said, I'll grab him and I'll grab him. And well, that was it. I think you said, I'm coming through there. So I was like, right, I'll grab him and I'll grab him. And I just gripped him, squeezed him, and then sort of fell over. Saw this red flash go through. You sacked the QB and we won. And I've never felt anything like it in my entire career, my 20-year career. Never felt anything like that. So I don't know if you remember that, but the question is do you have another one like that, another play like that?
I don't know. That still, look at that. That still gives me goosebumps, that play, because I've never celebrated a play or a sack, and I've had quite a lot of sacks over the years. I have never. The video from that after it is just showing me running around like a headless chicken with my arms in the air, like a lunatic, because it was just so tense that the game was on that play, and it was like, oh my God, we could still lose this, you know, and you're like, oh no, it's going to break my heart if we lose this now. And so then to kill the game with that, honestly, I look at it now and I think, what were you doing? You would not celebrate. I'd obviously not rehearsed a good celebration dance or anything. I was just running around going, yes. Everyone must have gone, yeah, it's not very good, that, mate. It's pretty
but we won.
But no, that's probably, there's other highlights, and I think to myself that have enjoyed or I've sort of been happy about. But that's the one that's the most excited, that still like gives me goosebumps when I remember it. You know what I mean? It's still, there's lots of others, and I think, oh no, that was really good, wasn't it? You know, and I think, yeah, it was, but it wasn't. You know, it was just that culmination of when things worked.
Yeah, you know, it was lovely. It was my first season.
That gap was massive. I could have hopped in my car and driven through it. And I was hitting it full pace, and I thought, God, I hope no one clips me here because I'll be on my arse.
and it wasn't because it was so wide that it's just straight through.
I can still visualize the guy's eyes. He obviously didn't understand what was going on. Or didn't believe that
You're not meant to be here.
Leaves big hole.
So I mean that we have our little moment there. But did you ever play at Holton, or did you finish your career at Chester?
No, no, I don't think. No, I didn't. I kitted up. I finished at Chester, and to be honest, that was it. That was in my head. I was actually done with football at that point. Yeah. So I finished.
When was that? What year was that?
So I sort of finished the playing. This is the thing. I sort of started doing some coaching and player coaching at Chester because I knew that there was players better than me in the position, so I could fill in, but I really shouldn't be a starter. And then I thought, right, well, maybe it's time to start doing some coaching. It was probably one of the worst ideas I've ever had. I remember the season where I was defensive coordinator and I was middle linebacker, and I had the worst season as a defensive coordinator and the worst season as a middle linebacker. Trying to do both, I admire anyone that does it. I just couldn't keep, because once I'm on the field, I'm like blinkered, and people are talking about what's going on with the secondary, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, I can't think that far ahead.
They're behind me. Okay. So it didn't work very well. So there was a bit of a transition there. And then I became head coach of Chester for a spell. And then when I stopped that was going to be the proper end of football for me. I'd sort of, in my head, I thought, right, I haven't got anywhere specifically to go. I hadn't stopped because I wanted to go somewhere else. I'd stopped just because I'd had enough of the head coach thing for a little while.
Yeah.
I'd stopped playing, and that I wasn't going to do anything. And then it was the glorious man Darbs who contacted me and said, listen, there's a few of the old demons are trying to help to get the Spartans going. So initially, he wanted me down as a coach, and I said, no, I'm not doing that. I just want to, I'll come and help. And because loads of things had changed since they were playing in the 80s, rules for starters, and the way teams ran, and BAFA was now around. So dealing with them. So I said, right, I'll come on board, and I'll just advise, and if you've got any questions, and I'll come down, I'll try and help out a little bit. And then I started doing a bit of coaching when we were a bit short early on of the coaches, and just got back into it again, just fell into it again. There's a picture of me somewhere of me kitted up at training. I did a training because the stupid old brain, he still thinks, you're still Zach Thomas, you're still Lawrence Taylor, you can do this. And the body's going, what the hell are you thinking? You stupid ass. And I do remember having a training session, absolutely loved it to bits, and then paid for it. Paid for it. I was so sore and so bad for days and days, and it was like, I don't want to feel this again.
Do you remember your last ever game, full game that you kitted up for and played in? Do you remember the last time you ever went, there's me lid and I'm done?
No, because I can't. And because it was a bit, there's a picture up on the wall, which is 2013, that was. And I played a reasonable amount in that season. And I was defensive coordinator as well.
We did well 2013, though.
Yeah, so that was 2013. And I think that was, the reason I don't really remember it is because it was never one of those decisions where I said, that date, I'm done. So when I finished work, that's the day I'm finishing work, and I can remember my last shift in work, because that was it. Whereas it wasn't like that. I used to take once I got older, every off season, I used to sit down and think, right, did you enjoy it? Do you want to go and do it again? And I used to sit for a couple of months and then think, right, actually, I miss it.
Yeah.
I do want to do it again. And I'd go again. So I was never really sure when it was going to end. And as I got older, I knew it was going to end. But then you start, when you're older, you grasp at it because you think, this could be the last one.
Yes.
And then when you do one more, you think, this definitely could be the last one. So you do keep to the stage where really I shouldn't have been grasping it all. I should have let it go a long time. But you do, because it's such a massive part. It's been a massive part of my life. Since 1985,
Yeah.
it's been involved in my life. That period, I had a bad injury where I was out for 4 months.
Is that your bicep?
No, I've still got it, but I've still got the injury.
Yes.
I ruptured my Achilles tendon.
Oh.
So I was out, I don't know, it was about halfway through the season, I think. So that was missed the rest of the season. And I think that was a point when I was thinking of packing up. But then it was like, I can't pack up like that. I can't pack up halfway through a season on an injury. So that was what brought me back for the season after that. But I think I still did another couple after that. But you just, that length of time, and there's only been 2 short periods where I've had no football. And I think, how easy was it for Darbs and the Spartans to entice me back?
Yeah.
I could have easily said, I'm done.
Yeah.
I've had me fill. I really am done now, if you know what I mean. I think I've done loads and loads, but I didn't. I got enticed back. And I enjoyed it. I had a great time.
Yeah, and that was the thing, is I went to Holton for you. And we had a great time. We had a good all the way to the bowl.
We had a cracking season.
We blew the bowl, but we don't talk about that.
Yeah,
But
what bowl?
And then, so between then, you were coaching Cheshire Bears. And
coaching. I actually wrote. I'll tell you now. I wrote down, because me playing teams are not a lot, because I didn't go very far, did I? Didn't want to.
You didn't want to trade.
But coaching, I've DC and head coach at the Romans, DC at Bangor University.
I remember those days. They were fabulous.
DC at Chester Uni. That was another thing you wrote me into.
You blocked for my only ever touchdown.
In the old boys, in the old boys game, yeah. Then I did positional and head coach at the Spartans. I did DC and head coach at the Bears, the women's team. Thundering Herd, Zealand, obviously, and now
which I have finally fucking dragged you back into.
Back at the Romans. There's a recurring theme in some of these, definitely. I do remember the Thundering Herd, and I can't remember whether it was you or me instigated the conversation. I'll let you off and say it was me, and say I was interested, but, and this is a massive, big capital letters, but I said, I'll just come along for a bit of a jolly. I'll be a water boy or a cheerleader or just whatever, just to come away with the boys for football.
Yeah,
and you went,
good
excellent, great idea. 2 weeks later, there was an official announcement, new defensive coordinator. It was like, what? I was like, what? Hang on a minute, what? When did this happen? When did this conversation happen?
Well, I might not have connected the phone call, but I had my half of the phone chat,
And then that was it. Although it was brilliant. I mean, it was precursor to season, really, wasn't it?
That's how we started. It was kind of, that's what it was based on. And I just kind of was like, I like these bits. I don't like this bit. I like these bits. And then we've just gone boom. So, you come out to Dublin and have a good time there. And and that's it. It's been, you had a little break from Sealand though.
I did, yeah. I think it was, and I'm sort of having a bit of a semi-break now. So I'm not at the Bears anymore, because it was this thing of trying to reduce and I was increasing. So I was head coach at the Bears, and as any head coach will tell you, there's just 100 things. And I know it's probably the same for you to do with Sealand. 100 is probably a small number for you. But it's okay. That's what you do as a head coach. You're just managing so many things. It's not just the game day. It's not just training sessions. It's through the week. It's the conversations, the emails, the film.
There's so much.
And so I just thought, oh, this is taking over again, which I've had loads of times. And I thought I just want to sort of step away from that. So
that's why I stepped away from that, but I didn't want to step away from football.
So that's why I stayed with the Romans, because Dave Goodall is the DC there, and Dave's a really, really good friend.
Lovely man, Superman.
And to be honest, I probably wouldn't be there if it wasn't Dave dragging me back in.
That's fair.
And then I'd always in my mind, the same thing with Sealand. I'd done a few of the tours, and then it was just, I don't know if I can commit the time on a personal level. And I thought maybe I just need to step away and that'd be fine. But then I did step away, but then I always missed it, still missed it. And I thought at some stage I definitely need to sort of, even if I came back and be water boy again, which I never was, but I wanted to be.
The thing is, though, is you're never going to be water boy. You know you're going to get wildly promoted.
But it's not the thing, is it? It's not.
This is the weird thing. I've had this conversation with other people.
When I played football, I was very confident in my own ability. At the level I was at, I got a long time ago. I got picked for GB and never followed it up. But it was at a time where everything was very London-based, coaches and players, and I worked shift work, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't go to training sessions or anything like that. So I didn't go, and I don't regret not doing that. It's just one of those things. So I was always confident in what I did as a football player, and then I became a coach, and I got imposter syndrome, and I have had that ever since. So when you first start, I get that, and I thought, oh yeah, first starting coaching, I haven't got a clue what I'm doing here. I'm just really trying to reproduce something that a good coach did for me, type of thing. You know, it's like I'll just do what he did because I enjoyed that and he was good. So I got that, but still to this day, I still have that same imposter syndrome.
Really?
Yeah, all the time. And I am an old school coach, as in, especially for Brit football, I believe that it's not like the NCAA or the NFL. You cannot just write up a sexy playbook and go, give it to your players and go, there you go, lads, take it away. They are not the same athletes. They are not the same mindset as those sort of players. No. So I always think fairly simple, keep it fairly simple, and adjust to what you've got. If the four best players on my team are the four linebackers, they're on the pitch. Absolutely. I will put a system in that makes sure that it'll be a 34, 44, or whatever, 24. But those four will be on the pitch. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And then now I know that, you know, if you're seriously doing that and you've got all the athletes, you can put a system in, whatever system you want. But I believe for a bulk of Britball, then you have to look at what you've got and go, this system will work. But it worked because you've got those players. So I do admire these. I've seen some playbooks and I'm like, oh my God. But, you know, they're like this thick. Yeah. Oh, I've tried it a couple of times.
Oh, right.
At the end of the season, we're using 5 plays.
Yeah.
Because they're the only ones that work.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that the guys know really well and they enjoy and they actually execute them. And the rest of the book's like, oh, it's lovely reading. No, like, oh, we're playing Alabama. We're using the Alabama playbook. Right, really? Oh, right.
And they're the 5 plays are the ones that the coach thinks of straight away. And they go, well, yeah, we'll just use those because they work.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I've recently been at a club where it was like, I think it was about 100 plays, and we used 3. And you're just like, well, because we can't do that. We can't do that. It's just crackers. But you're going to have fun, though. In fact, the Bears play 7s, didn't you? Yeah, I was going to say, you've got 7s because you're now, and you know this, you're the She-Hawks head coach.
Yeah.
Nepotism, stuff it. And you're then you're a Nationals coach as well, so you'll be flipping between 7 and 11s. So you'll have fun there. Your brain will fall off.
Fun there somewhere. Obviously,
there could be. But the thing is you talk about kind of being like imposter syndrome. Now you're a coach, though. I mean, obviously you've loved your playing career. Do you still get the same joy from coaching, the same rush, or is it different, or is it just nowhere near the same?
See, like, I just feel terrible now to disappoint people. It's like it's nowhere near the same. No, well, I would, although it may be a rubbish player, I'd give me left arm to play football again, but then I'd only be playing with one arm, so I might not be as effective. But I miss it. I miss it all the time. And to a certain extent, in the early days, I found it really difficult because coaching is like trying to give up smoking whilst having 3 cigarettes in your fingers all the time. Because it's there. You're there. And that's why I think initially when I stopped, I thought I just need to walk away completely because I know I'll miss it more if I'm there. Even to the effect of thinking, I'm not even going to go back and watch the game.
Really?
Because I think if I watch a game, I'll be like, God, I missed this.
Yeah.
And I think that was the thing. So playing was everything, but coaching is different. It's a different. So I don't get that same type of buzz that I got when you're playing. So I'll never get that buzz of the South Wales game. I'll never get that coaching. Just won't happen. No. Even if I can coach a team to win a championship or win any final or whatever, it will be great. It still won't beat that individual buzz that you get because you've done it. Coaching a team, you're coaching the team to do it, and there's a pride in that they've executed what you've asked them to do, and you've helped them to become better players and all that. And so there is a nice feeling about that, without a doubt, but it's not that proper buzz, excitement, heart rate going type of thing, But it's a football fix.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. Because I don't know how much longer I will carry on with football coaching. But I do know that I will. That's the worry, is I know I'll really miss it. When I first stopped, I know we're sort of drifting onto it. When I first stopped playing, I struggled with that. I struggled with that a little bit, and I think the coaching has sort of helped that because it's allowed me to keep in touch with people. And I've kept in touch with people outside of football that were footballers, if you know what I mean. So there's a few of the Romans guys that you know as well.
Yeah.
I still have a lot to do with, and they don't do anything really with football anymore. But I think it's when you're doing something that's so important to you, and it consumes your life at that particular time, that suddenly there's a massive hole. Do you know what I mean? And yes, I see it loads. I see it loads at games. So at the Romans games, there's loads of old Romans turn up to watch. There's some that you never see because they've obviously said, I finished with football. I liked it when I was playing it, but I've got other things now. I'm going Wicks to get some wood to put some decking down in the back garden or something. I don't know what to do.
That's all right. That was Damo's thing, wasn't it? Damien Crisp was. Yeah. I'm going to garden centre. That's why Sundays I'm going to garden centre. I didn't have a garden.
And people do that, but I don't know. Well, I've not been able to yet because it just I think maybe if I hadn't played so long, I hadn't been involved so long, it would have been easier to drop it and go, right, I'm going to do something else now. I'm going to do bowls or something on a Sunday or play cricket or I don't know. But once every season and the amount of travelling half the time that's involved with these games, it was just a big. It felt like I only had like a couple of months off of it. I was either training or we were in the season.
That's
and it
true.
was just you finished the end of the season, you had a couple of months off Christmas, then January you're back at it again. And so it wasn't
even like a short bit
because of all the preamble and pre-season and stuff like that.
And we used to at Chester, we used to start our pre-season like October. So you'd finish, you'd have a month where you were playing passball, and then you'd start your pre-season again. So you literally didn't see your mates for like a week, and then you were back in. And that's the thing, that was the big bit for me, was when I stopped doing it completely. It's like you do get like a tinnitus. You're like, it's finished. Now what? And it's just kind of horrible. But it was weird. So you say you might not, you might call it a day, wrap it up with the coaching side of things. Then what? What would you do then?
I don't know. That's probably the only reason I haven't picked it up yet.
Does that scare you, or?
It does a little bit, but my life's changed a lot. Finished work, my partnership has finished. I'm off doing different things.
Just tell the folk out there how many holidays you're going on this year.
10.
And how many have you been on already?
Well, I've got 10 in total. I've already had 2, so I've got 8 to go. But I've got a spare month where I've not got a holiday, and so I might have to squeeze one in.
Oh,
but that was my plan for this year, was to just holiday,
just disappear, because at least you're busy.
Could be dead next year, so I need to make sure. If I'm not dead next year, I'll go for 11 next year.
Well, you've got one next year that I'm in talks with at the moment, and you've got to be around for that. In about November-ish, we may be playing somewhere near Crimson Tidy Way, sort of thing. That sort of location.
Yeah, I love the States in November.
I know.
I mean, my birthday. I'm a November child, so
there you go. It's an excuse for you to come out to Alabama. There we go.
It's just, I don't know. I think
I'm sure there's lots of others, and I know the other guys have spoken, and ones that come on will speak. That it's a weird thing. I think if you're not involved in American football,
you don't quite get it. I always say it's a Marmite thing. Guys turn up on rookie days and whatever, and there's some that just go, "Wow, I love this," and there's some that just go, "I don't see what the attraction is." Might come down for a few weeks and then
they'll wander off and go and do something else.
I just not been able to I absolutely love the sport, but I do understand that it's difficult.
As like I said, at the moment,
some of the players I'm coaching are like grandkids. I feel like I'm doing a little youth kiddies football team now. Yeah, it's not. They're all adults.
Yeah, they're grown-ups.
But they're, and so I sort of think, I don't know. It's difficult because things, as they should, are constantly changing within coaching. Do you know what I mean? And it's sometimes I find it more difficult now to keep up with that. And I think it's because before I just wanted to learn stuff all the time about coaching and do better. I'll do my level 1, right? What's next?
Level 2, right? Do level 2, right? What do I do now? I've got level 2. Where do I go next? So it's always wanting to do that stuff. But now I think I've got to that stage, which is why I think it's getting near to finishing, where I'm not as enthusiastic about constantly loading myself up with all the different new stuff that's coming out, the new schemes and all this sort of thing. You know what I mean? It becomes more difficult, I think. And I just feel as though I
I don't want to travel up to Inverclyde.
Yeah.
And I will be travelling up to Inverclyde this year.
Oh god, that's a bus ride and a half.
It's just,
Oh,
it's those killer journeys and the dreaded organisation that runs the lot just blows my mind a little bit. So
at least mine's easy. I get on a plane to somewhere, and at least that's fun. But to go on a coach, it's just it's hard work. I still remember I think it was like a 10-hour coach ride to Plymouth when we played, and it was just in the baking heat. And you get there and just go, I just don't want to play anymore. We won 36-0, which was nice, but it was just hard work. But
yeah, you know, I ended up with a Mohican out of that.
You did, yeah. I remember that because we shut them out because you said.
I said, if you get a shutout, I'll have my haircut and a Mohican. And
but that's it.
They got shut. I've never seen a defense work and an offense work so hard. To make sure, even the offense were like, do not turn that ball over.
I played out of my socks, and I still remember you. I remember the photo you posted, and you having to go into work and explain it.
Oh yeah, I had to go to work. They were like, "What the?"
Oh yeah,
I had a woolly hat on for ages, and they were like, "Why have you got a woolly hat on?" Middle of summer, I think it was like July, and it's like, "Why have you got a woolly hat on?" I was like, "Oh, I had my hair cut."
Yeah, shut up. Yeah, we're not allowed to talk about it. But if I mean, there's the kind of looking to the wrapping it up sort of stage. Is there anything you wish you'd have done differently in your playing career?
No, I don't think there is. I mean,
I always think whatever
happens, if you're in a happy place, generally, I always think. So if I'm in a happy place now, which I am,
I think anything that's gone before has
mean I've ended up where I am.
Yeah, it brought you there.
So if things have been different, my end of my journey might have been different type of thing, or my current place would have been different. So I always a great believer in that.
And I don't think I just wanted to play football.
I remember, and there's some people who will just scoff at this. One of the best seasons I enjoyed was when the Romans went 0-10. We didn't win a single game, but the defense was never off the field, and I was never off the field. And I just thought, this is brilliant. I love playing football. And the offense was like 3 and outs. And it was like defense back up. There was a few times when I thought, oh, God, please, I just can't breathe. But I really enjoyed it because it wasn't my job. I wasn't getting paid for it. It was costing me money and time. And I just wanted to enjoy it. And that's one of the reasons I would have never have gone to a better team. Whether it was good enough to go to a better team is debatable. But I would have never have done it because it was just, I always enjoyed where I was. And when I stopped enjoying it, that was when I moved on to other clubs, you know what I mean? But I always enjoyed it. And I just enjoyed, especially in the early days, it wasn't overly serious. And so it really was a mess about game with your mates. You know what I mean? Pure and simple. Playbooks were dead simple. It was just a laugh. And I know there's a lot of people who would say, I don't want that. I want to be more serious than that. And I get that. And I've been in that position as well. But those early days, I sort of think, you know what? They were proper fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Win, lose, draw. You went home at the end of it on a Sunday and you were like, what a laugh that was. So many. I've got hundreds of stories of different games and different things people said and did, and post-game and bus journeys and all of that stuff. And they're all part of that. And they're the things that I miss. But then none of them are changed. I wouldn't change the 0-10 season. I wouldn't have gone from, I'm trying to know who the big teams were at the time. There wasn't many locally. Maybe Manchester, obviously the All-Stars that were, or, you know, I wouldn't have gone there because I'd have probably spent 50% at least of my time riding the bench.
Yeah.
And where I was playing pretty much every down unless I fell over or got knackered. So it was like, so no, I don't. And the amazing people I've met along the way, unbelievable. A lot of the stories, and I know that you might edit this out, Mike, but a lot of stories involve you. But we'll save that for a different podcast.
That could be the return, because I think we're doing a return of some of the other lads that are coming on, because they've had their deep dives and we're just kind of messing around for a bit. So we could have that, or we could do like Mike's character assassination with Simon, the person that knows him the best. But is there anything to kind of round this out? I've started doing this on my more recent ones. Is there anything you'd say to someone coming into the game, and is there anyone that you'd say to someone that's just about to retire?
I think coming into the game is you've got to enjoy it. You've got to enjoy it. So you've got to embrace what it is. Find a place that's not just a position within the game, but a team where you feel you fit. And there's lots of different pegs and holes and diamonds and triangles. And you'll find that you'll go to a team and think, yeah, it's just not for me. But there will be a team where you'll go and it will just go, wow, I love this. I love it. And whether that's because they're
more serious than the other, more professional, I don't know. It depends what each individual wants. But that's the main thing for me. You've got to enjoy it. It's a hobby. A few people will make a living out of it. But the bulk of people are just going to play it for fun, so you got to enjoy it. Coming to an end, it's difficult. Some players, I really understand how hard it can be. Some people will just go, like we said about packing up smoking, they'll just go, I'm going to stop tomorrow. And they'll stop and they'll never smoke again. And it'd be that easy. But I've found to be packing up football extremely difficult. So I'm not the worst person to get advice from. But it's difficult, and I think what you need to do is, if you fancy coaching, go into coaching, because that keeps a lifeline between you and football. It's not the same. It'll never be the same. But it keeps you connected. God forbid, maybe put a striped jersey on.
That's an option. Yeah.
Be a ref if you think that's what you would like to do. But I think it's keeping a connection. So even if this season, say,
It's my last season of coaching,
I've still got my connection. So people like you, lots of people within Sealand, lots of people from teams that I've played for before and coached. I think don't isolate yourself. If you're going to stop playing football, whether that be because you want to, or injury, or family reasons, or whatever, is do that. But don't isolate yourself from the game. Don't just sit and say, well, I'm going to watch the NFL on Sundays. Oh, right, yeah, that's good. But go down and watch your local team. Keep in touch with the lads that you've played football with. Because the old stories will still be there, even though they're making some new ones without you. The old stories for you will still be there. So I always think, don't detach yourself from it.
Because loneliness is painful. Loneliness hurts.
Yeah, it is, and it's hard. It gets harder if you've not reached out to someone, and you're struggling. Then reaching out to someone that you've not spoken to for 18 months is really hard, because it's like, wow, I've not even said hello to him for 18 months, and now suddenly I want to throw all this on his doorstep. So you don't do it. You won't do it. And that's the thing. Whereas you still got those lines open of discussion and chat and, banter and whatever that you've got with your old teammates. But then when you want a little bit more of a serious talk, or you just need a little bit of help, and sometimes it's not even help, you just need to go for a coffee with someone and go, you know what, I'm getting a bit much. But it's difficult when you push yourself away from that group and you're not included anymore.
Yeah.
Then it's hard then to get back in touch with them, because it feels awkward, because you think, I feel dead bad now because I've not spoke to him for ages, and now suddenly I want to speak to him, but because it suits me. So I think that the main point is do that chatty bit, keep it going, and then if it does, hopefully it doesn't, but if it does get a little bit lonely, and it does for a lot of people, especially with something like this that's so involved for ages. Do you know what I mean? Then I just think it's dead important to be able to say, oh yeah, I talked to Mike, I only talked to him last week. So I don't feel bad about having to talk to him again, but having a slightly different conversation than, like, remember when you were a knobhead and we did this? And, you know what I mean? We can have a proper conversation.
They are many and often. Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the thing for anyone watching. If you are struggling, and even if it's just loneliness and you're not sure, you do need to speak to him, you can contact Simon or you can contact me. The Seahawks are running this program, the Pineapple program. If you can't say, I need to chat, I need help, I need a friend, send a pineapple, an emoji, or just the words to any one of us or any Seahawk, anyone within the Seahawk organization. And it just takes the edge off it as I could do with a friend right now. And, we may not be able to help you fully, but, it can sort of stave off any negative thoughts that, you're going through. And that's it, is as Simon says, is make that connection, make that link, because to any old mate or anything like that, because it does help. It's massive.
Yeah.
With me coming away from football to not playing anymore, having Steeland and running the whole gig and all that sort of stuff, even though I'm a little bit isolated in Cornwall, just having that, even just a text chat or a chat like this or anything like that, you can talk to them and it feels fantastic. And you go, oh God, yeah, I remember those days. They were fantastic. And it sort of brings you back into the room and you feel good about yourself and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Simon, massive thank you. This has been a fantastic trip down memory lane for me, and I hope the folks watching it have enjoyed it anywhere near as much as I have. Had an absolute ball. Is there anything else you want to say before we call it a day?
No, keep in touch, everybody.
That's
all you got to say.
That's
If
it.
you've got any interest in Sealand at all, it's unbelievable. Just give it a try. Get in touch with Mike.
There you go.
It's amazing.
We'll take on all the waifs and strays. We'll look after you and give you somewhere to live. But yeah, right. This has been emotional. I've been Mike. That's been Simon. This has been Life After the Locker Room. Big loves, and I'll see you in the next one. Love you. Bye.
Take care, mate. Bye.